let us take a look at tables, nth terms, and NowNext problems. So we have talked about tables here recently, so hopefully this is a good review for you. If you're given a table and you are trying to determine if it represents a linear, quadratic, exponential, or absolute value function, you are going to look for a first difference, or a common rate of change, a second difference, a common ratio, or that it's linear on both sides of the vertex. Okay? So for a common difference or a first difference, you are looking for a number that is either added or subtracted each time. So this one, 3, is added each time, so that would be linear. If I am moving too fast, please feel free to pause or rewind if you need to. The second one is a quadratic. Now you're looking for a second difference. So, how do we get from negative 11 to 4? We add 7. How do we get from negative 4 to 5? We add 9. How do we get from 5 to 16? We add 11. And 16 to 29, we add 13. So you can see we are not adding the same thing every time, but if we look for a second difference, we can see that now we are adding 2, and adding 2. So this is a second difference, so this table represents a quadratic function. Okay, now if we're looking for an exponential function, we are looking for a common ratio. That means we are multiplying or dividing each time. So, to get from 2 to negative 4, we multiply by negative 2. To get from negative 4 to 8, we multiply by negative 2. 8 to negative 16, multiply by negative 2. Negative 16 to 32, multiply by negative 2. So this would be an exponential function. Absolute value, you're looking for it to be linear on both sides of the vertex, so you're looking for a common difference on both sides of the vertex. So here, from 6 to 5, we subtract 1. From 5 to 4, we subtract 1. From 4 to 5, we actually add 1. And from 5 to 6, we add 1. That means that this represents an absolute value function. It means that we are going down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1 until we hit that vertex, and then we begin going up 1 over 1. So our vertex would actually be at 0, 4, where it takes that turn. Okay, so go ahead and try the 2 checkpoints, show your work in your packet, and submit your final answer. All right. Let's look at nth term problems and NowNext problems. Because these are going to be multiple choice questions, it's really going to be some trial and error, or plugging in and seeing which one works. Okay? So it says write an equation for the nth term. We are going to plug in numbers for n, or numbers for our input, and see if we get our output. So for instance, let's plug in 10 for n. If we plug in 10 for n, we get 3 times 10 is 30, plus 15 is 45, not 55. So that means this is not our correct answer. Let's move on to B. Let's try 10 again. 10 plus 45 is 55. That's what we wanted. Let's plug in 10 for n here. 6 times 10 is 60. Minus 5 is 55. So again, we're still on track. Let's plug in 10 here. 3 times 10 is 30. Plus 25 is 55. So all 3 of these work if the input is 10. But now, let's see what happens when the input is not 10. Instead, let's use an input of 20. So our output should be 85. If we plug in 20 for n, we get 20 plus 45, which is 65. But we want 85, so we are going to eliminate B. For C, if we plug in 20, 6 times 20 is 120. Minus 5 is 115. That's not what we want though. We want 85. So C is not going to work. Let's try D. 3 times 20 is 60. Plus 25 would be 85. That works. Okay, very similarly, we will look at number 4. But before we do that, I actually want you to try this checkpoint number 5. Okay? Try checkpoint number 5, show your work, and input your answer. Okay, now number 4, let's talk about NowNext. We're going to use that same kind of method of trial and error. Okay, so it says if the first now is -8, which equation represents this sequence? Okay, so let's plug in -8. If we plug in -8 and we subtract 3.5, we actually become more negative. So that is not going to work. -8 minus 3.5 is -11.5, but we want a -4.5. Okay, if we do -8 and we divide it by 2.5, we actually get -3.2. Again, that's not what we want. We want -4.5. So we're going to cross that off. -8 plus 3.5 is becoming less negative, so it's going to be -4.5. So it appears that this works. However, I encourage you to check your answer and make sure that D in fact does not work. If we plug in -8 and we multiply it by 2.5, we get -20. So that it concludes or verifies that D is not correct. C is our answer. Please do the last checkpoint, number 6 here. Again, show your work and input your final answer.